Hello, my name is Amira Rasool, and I am the founder and CEO of the Folklore. For the past 3 years, we've helped dozens of independent fashion, beauty, home, and lifestyle brands successfully launch both online and in-store at Nordstrom. So we understand how intimidating it can feel to approach a major retailer today, and I'm going to basically simplify that and explain the process and give you a clear roadmap of what that looks like. So before we dive in, let me share just a little bit about the folklore itself. So we are an all-in-one platform that helps brands sell everywhere and market smarter with simple technology. So we make it easy to reach more customers across multiple sales channels, create stronger marketing content faster with AI, and then we essentially let you manage everything from one place. So think of us as a one-stop shop. So our platform allows brands to save on average over about $2,000 a month and over 110 hours in operational work. Our three core features include multi-channel selling, which allows you to list across multiple marketplaces, social media and search engines, as well as affiliate channels in seconds, without having to create multiple accounts and fulfill all of your orders you get from those channels in one centralized dashboard with discounted shipping rates. We also have AI-powered marketing, so you can create campaign images, product shoots, captions, and marketing content in minutes and publish directly to your social platforms or to use for your own e-commerce platform. And then we have Retailer Connect, so instantly find verified retail buyers and reach out to them with personalized AI-generated outreach messages. And that's one of our newest features that we launched more recently. So, what we're going to get into today is how we're actually going to talk about two sides of it. We're going to talk about the wholesale side very briefly, and then we're going to talk about what it looks like to drop ship with Nordstrom Marketplace. So Nordstrom Marketplace, it is definitely one of the most powerful sales channels available through our platform. And today we're going to focus specifically on how you can access and succeed on it. But what I'll talk to you about throughout this program is I'll break down the two ways brands can work with Nordstrom. So traditional wholesale versus drop shipping through their marketplace program. Then second, we'll focus on the marketplace model, as that's what we currently support brands with. Third, I'll walk through what Nordstrom actually looks for when approving brands. Then I'll discuss what happens after you're accepted. And after that, I'll share best practices to actually succeed when you're live. And finally, I'll explain how the folklore supports you throughout that entire process. And I'll leave a full 15 minutes at the end for Q&A. The webinar will be recorded and added to our YouTube page this week. So in case you have to leave early. So let's get started. So wholesale versus marketplace, the two paths to Nordstrom. So when it comes to traditional wholesale, how it works is you pitch a Nordstrom buyer directly. You either somehow get access to an email that you can pitch. You end up meeting them at a trade show. You meet them out somewhere. You get an introduction. You'd pitch a Nordstrom buyer directly, and that buyer would focus on your category. So if you're a beauty brand, you're pitching a beauty buyer. They might even have like a skincare buyer. So you would be pitching that Nordstrom buyer directly. Then if they're interested after reviewing your line sheets and having conversations and sometimes even testing your products, they would then place a bulk purchase order, or what people shorthand call a PO. So it would be a large order. Usually we've seen orders come in from as low as 20,000 up to 100 to 150,000 for even a first order for an emerging brand, but they would place that bulk purchase order. You would then have to produce the inventory that they have in that purchase order. So it could be, a couple hundred units. Sometimes it can get to up to 1,000 units if you have a lot of products and they're really interested in moving forward with you in a larger capacity. So then you would ship the inventory that you've produced to Nordstrom's warehouses, and Nordstrom would resell your products in store and online. So in terms of the pros of traditional wholesale with Nordstrom, you get large purchase orders. It's always great to be able to get a six-figure check cut, right? You also have in-store placement opportunities, so you can actually have people shopping and discovering your products in store. Prestige and brand validation, always great to be able to say you have, you're stocked at Nordstrom, and then being able to establish some long-term buyer relationships. Now, there are some cons with that as well. So it's extremely competitive to get in. So like I mentioned, if you're lucky enough to figure out the email address for the Nordstrom buyer, they're getting dozens daily, people pitching them. And unless you have a direct in or they've reached out to you, it's very hard for you to be able to sort through, the sea of people who also want to be sold at Nordstrom. So it's very competitive. So it also requires heavy upfront production capital. So even though the reward of having a big order is great, if you don't have the money to upfront fund, 200 units, 300 units or more, then you're then going to have your money tied up for an extended period of time because a lot of times they don't provide deposits. So the cost of production and the cost of shipping is going to actually be on your shoulders. And so it can take up to what they have is a net payment term. So it could take up to 60 days after your product's delivered, sometimes even 90 days once your product's delivered to actually get paid. So you'd have to send them that invoice and then you'd get net 60 or net 90. So you could realistically have to carry the cost of producing upfront for anywhere between, I would say, like 3 to 6 months. So that is something that you have to consider, and that is a con when it comes to doing wholesale. There's also a risk of chargebacks. So chargebacks are what happen when, for instance, you didn't pack something correctly. They have very strict rules on how to package things for receiving. If something isn't labeled properly, if something comes damaged, they charge back. So that means that they will remove they will add fees or remove certain products from the purchase order. So you end up receiving less money, or you end up having to pay them back if you've already been paid. A lot of brands get hit with chargebacks, especially newer emerging brands, because they're not used to doing it. So those can really, really hurt you bad. High risk if products doesn't sell well. Sometimes retailers will ask you to buy the product back. That is I haven't seen that too often with Nordstrom, but I've seen that with other retailers. And usually it requires strong sales history. And then another thing, if your products don't sell well, it's not very likely that you're going to get picked up for another season. So you've then done a lot of work to maybe get that first order out. And if it doesn't perform consistently over time, it's harder for you to be able to get back in there. So when it comes to Nordstrom drop shipping, so their marketplace, this is a third-party marketplace model. So how that works is your product is listed on Nordstrom.com. When a customer orders, you fulfill the order directly from your own fulfillment center, and then you have no upfront inventory that Nordstrom buys. And Nordstrom handles all the customer service. So the pros with that are your brands are visible to all Nordstrom.com shoppers. So the same way that, if I go online and I type in, or if I go online, I'm looking for shoes in like black leather boots, ankle booties, the brand Arc NYC that we work with, they show up there, and a customer would just click the product, add it to cart and check out. So it is the same experience as brands that are actually wholesaling with Nordstrom. So you don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to be on a certain section of the website? No, you're on the regular Nordstrom.com website. Your products are available for customers to shop. The only thing that's different is that you are fulfilling it rather than Nordstrom. So the pros about that, you don't have to have the 3 to 6 months of carrying a heavy, burden of upfront production costs because you can produce as much product as you want that you think that you can sell. You can also just take it from your actual e-commerce inventory. So you don't have to worry about creating a whole separate line of products and units just for Nordstrom. Faster path to entry, it's a lot quicker and easier to get to Nordstrom Marketplace than it is to get a wholesale order from them. You get weekly payouts. You also have and it's really ideal for emerging brands, and we'll talk more about that. Cons, of course, you don't get that big upfront purchase order. Returns are accepted up to 90 days from customers, and that could be a little bit longer than you would usually give a customer. And Nordstrom does have a higher return rate than many traditional retailers. And then there's strict pricing integrity rules. So you must remain full. You must have full pricing across all of your channels if they're going to be sold on Nordstrom. So, for instance, if you want to mark something down on your website, you need to make sure that you remove that from Nordstrom's website during the time of markdowns. So, now that we've talked about, wholesale versus marketplace drop shipping, we're going to really talk about why, the folklore has shifted to really supporting on the marketplace end. Because while wholesale is incredible, it is harder to access and carries a lot more financial risk. And that's why today we're focusing primarily on Nordstrom's marketplace program because it's the most realistic, scalable, the lower risk path for the types of brands we serve, which are independent brands that are small, that have not done, a large amount of wholesale with a major retailer. This is a great way for you to get your feet wet, either before you go into bigger wholesale, or this just it might end up being your business model because honestly, there are a lot of people who succeed doing this over doing wholesale just because there's a lot. They have a lower risk appetite. They like the margins better because one thing I didn't mention about wholesale is usually they're only going to give you about 40% of the retail price. But with, drop shipping marketplaces, they usually take like 20 to 25%. So that's one good thing to consider is that you do get a higher margin when you are doing drop shipping versus when you are doing wholesale. So let's talk about first how the folklore helps brands get approved, and then we'll move into what we look for. So we support brands in getting sold on Nordstrom.com by sending them over for approval to the Nordstrom team. So again, the folklore we are helping with getting you into Nordstrom's marketplace, not into wholesale. So that means you would be selling on Nordstrom.com and fulfilling the products yourself. So the eligibility and submission process before a brand can be submitted to Nordstrom, they must have an active Plus plan subscription on the Folklore. They must complete their onboarding with their account manager, and at least they must have products activated on at least two sales channels, and then they must complete the department store dropship marketplace eligibility form. So these are the four things that you need before we're able to review and assess if we're going to submit you to Nordstrom. Those things all together some people can get it done in, 2 days. Other people can take 2 weeks. It's really up to how quickly you want to move because our technology is very self-service. We're usually able to get your onboarding done pretty quickly. So once submitted, and we think that you're a good fit, we will send it over to the Nordstrom team, and it typically takes anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks for approval. Um, and and then if accepted, the brand is upgraded to the premium plan, which all brands who are accepted to any of our premium partners must upgrade to our premium plan, and then they are able to start selling. So, in terms of what we are looking for before we submit a brand to Nordstrom, we conduct our own internal review to ensure the brand is truly Nordstrom ready. So we have been working with Nordstrom's, I think since 2021. So we know pretty well what Nordstrom looks for. So we vet ahead of time. And that's why, they brought us in as partners because we have a really good eye for talent. And so we make sure that we are doing that heavy lifting before it even gets to them. So our job is not really just to submit brands, it's to submit brands that are positioned to get approved and then actually succeed when they are on the platform. So here's how we evaluate. So first thing we're looking at is the brand the right size? So we work best with about like mid-size premium direct-to-consumer brands. We also look at your Instagram followers because when we send over your information to the Nordstrom team, we're sending over your website, we're sending over your Instagram link. And then we also, of course, like look at Google and things things of that nature. But we usually look at brands that have at least 5,000 Instagram followers, but we tend to prefer brands that have about 10,000 or more. And that's because you've been able to show that you can build an audience on your own. And that is something that, again, it also proves that you're a little bit more established because if you're a brand that's only been around for a year, 2 years, it's probably a little too early for you to get into this. So we are looking for people who've been able to already build their own, following themselves. And then we look at them trying to actively break into a premium market. So those are the major things from a size perspective that we look at. We also don't really help that many brands that are doing like over $3 million annually because usually they can just go to Nordstrom directly. We're really more so helping the brands that are, that can't get into Nordstrom Marketplace directly because they're too small. We're going to be the bridge that allows you to still access Nordstrom Marketplace. But Nordstrom directly doesn't work with as many smaller brands, even when it comes to drop shipping. So let's talk about product category fit. So, in terms of the categories, we prioritize brands in women's and men's apparel, bags, shoes, swimwear, jewelry, eyewear, accessories, beauty. So that goes makeup, hair care, skincare, grooming, bath. It can also be like beauty, kind of like tools or beauty accessories. So one of our brands, Hello Updo, they have bonnets and scarves on there. We also have home, so decor, textiles, tableware. They also recently started allowing candles as well as kids, so kids apparel, shoes, and accessory. So, in terms of premium pricing, so we look at what the average price of your products are. And so what that means is we're not going to go and look at the lowest price. And we'll be like, oh, okay, they sell something that's $50, so they're not approved. But what we're looking for is on average, your price point for apparel is about 170, that's $170. So that's kind of like the contemporary price point. Beauty around 30, so a little bit more elevated. Home on average around 75. So that is what we're looking for from a pricing perspective. And then if we want to talk about swimwear, maybe is around like 125. Again, these are us averaging like what your average prices are. So if the pricing is too low, it might not align with the positioning. So again, these are all just things that we're looking at. It's not like a fast and hard rule. There are times that we've made exceptions, but this is, typically what we're looking for. So we don't want brands that feel very mass market. So if you're somebody who would be selling on Walmart, probably wouldn't work for a premium marketplace. Okay, and then we're going to also look at catalog depth. So before submission, we look at whether the brand has enough assortment to make the opportunity worthwhile. So if you are a brand that only has, 6 styles, 9 styles available on on your website, if it's, in a certain category, that's probably not going to work. So when you think about apparel, swim, like kids products, usually you want to see about 25 styles. And those styles to be having, seasonal, for you to be continuously introducing new styles at least twice a year. So you want to make sure that you actually have enough styles that make it worth it. Because again, just having, 5 styles and trying to just sell 5 styles on a website that has, thousands of products, it's going to be hard for you to really actually excel in just having 5 products. So we usually look for people who have about 25 styles and we go to your e-commerce website. So we're going to go to your e-commerce website. And if you only have 5 styles available, we're most likely would move forward with you from an apparel standpoint. Beauty, we have a lower threshold because we know some beauty brands are a little bit more niche. So we're looking at usually like about 6 products or more. Home, we're looking for about 10 products or more. When it comes to accessories like shoes and bags, usually it's a little bit under the apparel threshold. So maybe something around like 10 to 15 styles we'd be looking for from an accessory standpoint, but with you able to offer multiple variations when it comes to style or maybe the type of fabric that shoe or that bag is in. So again, why we're doing these things is because we want to set you up for success. We don't want to, first of all, we don't want to present you to Nordstrom and they deny you, and then you feel like you're not ready, or I mean you feel denial's never great. So we also don't want to submit you and you get denied. We'd rather you submit you when we feel like you're ready and you're more likely to get accepted. I see a hand raise. Um, I'm going to have everybody just put in there's a Q&A box. I want you guys to just put your questions in the Q&A box, and then I'll answer them all at the end, so that we don't have to stop throughout the process. But as you think of the questions, put them in the Q&A box, and I'll make sure I try to get to as many as possible. So when we look at your products as well, we're looking at brand quality and aesthetic. So things that are elevated, modern, polished, premium in materials or ingredients, that the materials that are there justify the price that you have on there. Strong visual identity, strong photography. So again, we're going to your e-commerce site and we're going to your Instagram to actually see what type of visuals you have. We're also going to your Instagram to see how consistently you've been posting. If you haven't posted on your Instagram in 2 months, we're thinking this might not be a brand that's very active or that's, consistently pursuing, premium customers, or there's, consistently looking to scale their business, because social media is like one of the number one things, especially when you're trying to grow your e-commerce business. Our suggestion is always to be posting at least 3 times a week. We know that that can be hard. We created an AI content creation solution to actually solve for that. So you can start making content, spend 5 minutes a day using our AI generator and getting great videos, images, captions. So there's really no excuse. If you're trying to get your brand out there and you want to have a premium image, you want to be able to start selling at, retail stores like this, you have to be consistent on social media. So we look at that. We've definitely, told brands no because we hadn't seen them post in 6 months. Because again, it also talks about this, how serious you are and how committed you are to your company needs to be reflected in your social media. Um, and we're, again, not looking for brands that are mass market. That's not this type of marketplace. So we're looking for people who are, looking to be with that Nordstrom customer that's a bit more premium, that has a certain expectation. So again, if you have, photos and it's just, maybe you having the bracelet on and taking a picture, or you have one of your friends just out in front of a brick wall, that's not something that is going to read well as premium. So definitely make sure you guys check out our AI tools, because we've helped a lot of people elevate their images. We do not submit brands that are fast fashion, anything that's like culturally niche, where like the broader audience would not actually be purchasing it. Anything that has like poor photographs or inconsistent branding. We also don't really, when we see that a brand is sold on like Amazon or Etsy, that's typically a brand we'll stay away from, because again, that doesn't really align with premium. Amazon's different when it comes to beauty products. We make that exception because Amazon is pretty good for beauty, but if you're on Etsy, you're most likely not. We most likely would not submit you to Nordstrom, because that means you're doing something a little bit more niche, handmade crafts like. And that's not really the same target customer base that Nordstrom would have. And again, these are things that the Folklore looks for when it comes to Nordstrom. We can't speak for the Nordstrom team overall, but in terms of what we consider when we're submitting a brand, this is our process. Okay. So we also look at operational readiness. So some of the things that we look at is, can this brand fulfill within 2 business days? Because that is the requirement. You have to fulfill all of the orders you get from Nordstrom and within 2 business days. We also look at, can they fulfill within a US with a US based fulfillment facility. So if you're not based in the US yourself, are you able to secure a US fulfillment facility to do the fulfillment for you? If you can't do those things, then we automatically couldn't submit you. Are you capable of maintaining inventory accuracy daily? So we have an integration with both Shopify and WooCommerce. But you're also able to just do a bulk manual upload. But people who do bulk manual uploads, you also have to manually update your inventory consistently. So we don't really recommend that. But we look at, do they have Shopify? Do they have WooCommerce? It's better if you do because the accuracy of your inventory would be a lot sharper. Can you handle 90-day returns? Are you somebody that you have to wait for something to come back in order for you to ship it out? You can't do that in this case. You have to have enough inventory on hand that if something does if something if you are waiting on a return, you still can replenish it with something else. And then do you understand those pricing integrity rules? Like if we see that you're on one marketplace selling something for $30, but then on another marketplace selling something for $50, then we might not trust that you're able to, maintain that pricing integrity that Nordstrom requires. Okay, so let's talk about what happens. Oh, so right before we hop into what happens after acceptance, we do want to just talk about the fact that when it comes, why we are so strict about how we screen brands for Nordstrom is because we have an 80% acceptance rate. So 80% of the brands that we've submitted to Nordstrom get approved to be on Nordstrom's marketplace. And so again, like Nordstrom has their own criteria. So sometimes even what we think is a good brand for them is not, and that's where those 20% come in. But again, this is what we're looking for when it comes to whether or not we think the folklore thinks you're a fit for Nordstrom. But then at the end of the day, Nordstrom has the final say on, which brands they're going to move forward with. So they have their own internal criteria as well. But just to give you that context. So what happens after acceptance? So once you get accepted, you would connect with Nordstrom via the Folklore's multi-channel selling tool on our platform. You would upload products to the Folklore platform. You would complete the required fields. Nordstrom has some required fields that you might not have on your e-commerce platform, for example. Then you would just request to publish your products on Nordstrom once all those fields are filled out. And then it is about a 2 to 3 week review process before your products go live. Sometimes it could be even quicker. And what you need to make sure that you're doing is that you are after you launch, that you're logging in daily, you're monitoring alerts and messaging, you're keeping inventory updated manually or through your Shopify WooCommerce sync, and that you're maintaining accurate stock quantities. So those are very important things. We have definitely removed brands off of Nordstrom because we see that they haven't fulfilled an order. We've tried to reach out to them multiple times. They're not answering the phone for days. If that happens consistently, that's something that will warrant a suspension on our end. Because again, these are customers that are expecting a certain level of service, and it's representative of Nordstrom now. Even though you are the shipper, it gives Nordstrom a bad reputation. Then they come to us, it gives the folklore a bad reputation. So we want to make sure that everyone is being professional, communicating. So making sure you're logging in daily, making sure you're fulfilling those orders within 2 business days, because again, that can also warrant suspension when you're not actually fulfilling products in the right amount of time, or if you're canceling products too much. That can also be a big problem. So, and then just so you guys can just get a little taste of what it would look like if you are signed in. Sorry, this was a brand that we were just speaking to. So I'll go into our test account. You can see here that this is where you can see the sales channels that are available for brands that you can see that are available for brands to connect to. You can see here that Nordstrom is already let's see, Nordstrom is already a connected channel. You would look in here to see how you can actually activate the products. So if you go into here, you will then see. that this is the where you would actually insert all of the information that Nordstrom would want. So if you are syncing with Shopify or WooCommerce, most of this information will actually already be here. But again, Nordstrom has some additional requirements that you'd have to go in here and fill in. And then once you're ready to activate, you would go and select Nordstrom here, and then you would click publish. And then it could take about 2 to 3 weeks before it's actually live on the site. So that is how it would look. And then here's where you would actually fulfill your orders. It would say that it's coming from the channel would be Nordstrom. You'd see how much the total is. You can actually go in, click the order to see, and then you can click fulfill order where you can create a discounted shipping label through UPS with us. Or if you have your own 3PL and you want to fulfill the order yourself, you would just click fulfill order and you put in the tracking details. But if you don't click fulfill order and put in tracking or create a label, it would be marked as either late or never shipped. And again, that's how you can get penalized. So so that you guys can see how this would look, and then we send weekly payouts for everything. And you can also, again, explore our other tools, but just wanted to give you guys a sneak peek of what it looks like. Um, So, in terms of fulfillment requirements, so again, you must have a US based warehouse that is required. So, either you're shipping from, even if you're shipping from home, I don't really care. It just has to be a US based place that you are actually shipping your product from because it's only going to US customers. So, the marketplace only ships domestically. You must ship within 2 business days. No promotional inserts allowed. So if you have a card that says like, shop us on our website or anything like that, you're not allowed to include that. So no promotional inserts. All of the returns are sent back to the Folklore's Fulfillment Center in New York City. And then those returns are then sent to you at your own cost. So again, when I was mentioning before around like we don't want to get brands that might be cash strapped, only making $2,000, $3,000 a month, because there are things like with returns and like I mentioned, you'll see a higher return rate than you would on your website. You would still need to cover the cost of shipping to those customers, but also getting it back to you from the Folklore's fulfillment facility. So there's shipping cost related to actually shipping them because shipping is free with Nordstrom customers. So you're covering that shipment to the customer, and then you would also be covering the cost of returning it back to the Folklore as well as back to your own facility. And the reason that we have to do that is because we are the merchant of record. There's only one facility that Nordstrom can ship the orders back to, and because we are the direct connection, they ship it to us, and then it's shipped to you. Returns can take about 6 to 10 days to get back to you. So that's again why we mentioned that you're not able to rely on returns to fulfill your orders because it could take some time. Okay, so let's get to how to succeed after launch. So again, shipping on time, no late shipments. 2 business days is a long time actually. So if you are well organized or you working with a fulfillment facility, that should be something that is not hard to do. Avoid cancellations by keeping your inventory up to date daily so that somebody's not ordering something that you don't have available. Upload enough SKUs, so depth matters, making sure that you're not just going and launching, let's say, 6 styles and each style only has 2 units. That's too little. You have, millions of people shopping on Nordstrom, and if you think that 2 units is going to be enough, it's really not. So, we always recommend that, you have at least 5 units for each SKU that you have minimum available. So if you only have 6 or 7 products where you had that much assortment, cool, just use those products. But again, the more products that you have on Nordstrom, the better you'll do because you'll be in different categories. People are not really just going and browsing through jeans; they're filtering for things. So that brings me to the next point: strong SEO, product descriptions, and product names. Making sure that your product names and descriptions are detailed and that they include things that people would be searching for. So not only are people going onto Nordstrom and searching for things and filtering for things, like for instance, let's say you have a red leather skirt, but you call it the Quincy skirt. That's not going to help you show up in search results when somebody's looking for a red leather skirt. You should, if you want to call it the Quincy skirt, call it the Quincy red leather mini skirt as your product name. And then make sure in your description that you have that in there. The Folklore has an AI product optimization tool that actually gives you expert SEO optimized product titles and descriptions. So you can actually use that if you're not too familiar with doing SEO yourself. It takes like less than 10 seconds to create for each of your products. So again, there's thousands of products on Nordstrom, so you want to make sure that your product titles and descriptions are strong so that when people are typing in certain keywords, or when people are filtering for certain things, your products show up in as many places as possible. So if you have tons of products, you're going to show up a lot more. High quality photography, of course, Nordstrom has certain photo requirements. The first photo has to have like a light gray or white background. And if it's a accessories or beauty or home product, it needs to just be the product shot as the first image. And then if it's a fashion apparel company, it needs to be on model for that first image. And then you still want to make sure that those images after that are strong and showing the product either on a model or lifestyle, all of those good things, but high quality photography and making sure you have, good models or you have good lifestyle images are important. Promote your Nordstrom listing to your email list. Once you get launched on Nordstrom, make sure that you send to your email list, hey, we're now available on Nordstrom. Because there might be some people who are in the US who were used to ordering from you internationally who were like, oh, great, I can buy it on Nordstrom now. It will be cheaper from a shipping standpoint. So converting some of those people that might have been on the fence. Adding available to Nordstrom messaging on your website and the link to your Nordstrom profile because you will have a section on Nordstrom, your own URL where people can go and shop just for your products. When you're posting about your products, say, available on my site and at Nordstrom, putting that in your Instagram and your TikTok bio. Not only does that help you drive more sales to Nordstrom, but that also gives you a level of prestige. It's um, not every brand is accepted to Nordstrom. Like I told you, it is how we look at it and how we screen brands is very like regimented. But also, Nordstrom has their own screening process too. So if you are accepted to Nordstrom, you are a premium brand. You have some sort of prestige. So you should definitely be able to actually, I guess what would the word be? Commercialize? Not commercialize. The word would be take advantage, I guess, of the fact that you have access and that you're a part of this, big department store. So make sure that you're showing that off. It can help you get into other retailers, things of that nature. And then, of course, monitoring your dashboard consistently. So we have 2 minutes left before I get into Q&As. So I want to just talk to you guys about some results that we've helped brands achieve who have launched on the Folklore launched on Nordstrom through the Folklore. So we have a US-based women's apparel brand that launched on Nordstrom through the Folklore. And in their first 3 months, they generated about $12,000 in gross sales. Their average order value was $288. After returns and commissions, they made about $6,000 in those 3 months from Nordstrom, and they achieved a 13x return on investment because when you're paying the Folklore subscription fee, it's $447 a quarter once you're accepted to Nordstrom. So once you subtract that, they still made a 13x investment in just 3 months. So that's definitely, worth the investment, if I may say so myself. We also have an accessories brand, a US-based jewelry brand launched on Nordstrom. And in less than 2 months, they generated $11,000 in gross sales. They received 73 orders. And after fees and returns, they netted $7,600. So that was a 17x return on investment in just under 60 days. And then we have a US-based hair accessories brand that launched on Nordstrom through the Folklore. And in under 3 months, they generated $4,000 in gross sales, received 68 orders, and they netted $2,000 after commission and shipping fees. So that was a 6x return on investment. So on average, we see brands have a 4x return on investment for brands that are selling on Nordstrom through the Folklore. Again, results may vary. We can't promise sales, but we can promise, once you get accepted, the opportunity to have your products on there. And then we give you tools and we give you guidance on how you can improve on your own. But again, it's all up to the customer on whether or not, they want the product or not. Before I get into Q&A, I hope, today made the path to Nordstrom feel more structured, achievable, clear, and I gave you guys enough information. The Folklore, we are all about supporting small brands. We've been doing this since 2018 in different capacities. And what we're doing now, I'm really proud of. I'm able to say, we have at least 60 to 70 brands within the past year that have launched on Nordstrom through us. We are bringing on dozens more each month. We manage submission. We give you the technology that makes onboarding and compliance super easy. And to get started, you would just join us on our Plus plan. That starts at $79 a month, and that's charged on a quarterly basis. And then we would be able to give you more details around your Nordstrom approval and be able to submit you if you do meet the criteria. And so what I'm going to do is share with you the link for if you are interested in signing up for our Plus plan today. Will you actually get 20% off? So I'm going to drop that in the chat, 20% off link. So you would just need to sign up today in order to redeem that. And that'd be 20% off your first quarter. And then if you are not quite ready to sign up yet, and want more information first and want to have a call, you can use this link that I'm going to drop in the chat to book a demo call, and that will actually allow you to find out a little bit more information. We'll actually can even assess if we think this would be a good fit for Nordstrom, for us to submit to Nordstrom. And we can also walk you through the rest of the platform and how we help you sell across other sales channels. Because again, Nordstrom's not our only channel. This is just the webinar that we're focusing on Nordstrom, but we also work with Urban Outfitters as a premium retail partner. We work with Macy's as a premium retail partner, D&Co. We have Crate and Barrel. We also have a few other premium marketplace partners that we're going to share in the coming weeks. And then we also just have our other channels like LTK. We have channels like being able to be on our Pinterest channel that sees like 500,000 views a month, allowing you to sell on TikTok Shop. So if you're not located in the US, you can't sell on TikTok Shop, but you can through the Folklore. So again, Nordstrom's not the only sales channel that we've seen brands turn on and it's worked well for them. But this is what the focus of the webinar was. So that's why I focused on this. So I'm going to get into the questions and that I see in the chat. So I'll start with what I see in the Q&A. Okay, question regarding the activation timeline. After activating products on Nordstrom Marketplace channel, how long does it typically take for them to go live on Nordstrom's website? This is somebody who activated their products um, who's already on our platform. So it can take 2 to 3 weeks after you've activated your products on Nordstrom's platform for it to appear live. That's not something we can control. Once we get it, we submit it to Nordstrom right away. But there is sometimes a backlog, and everything has to go through a process. We've seen it get done in like under a week, but we always tell people to wait to it could be anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, just because we don't want you guys to, submit and think that it's going to be right away. So, um, and then we also, it can also take longer, like on that 3 week side of things, if you guys don't follow all of the directions. So we do give you the playbook of like, this is exactly what you do. Because again, Folklore, we're a tech platform, so we're not actually doing the work for you, but we do give you all the documentation that you need to do it yourself. And what we found is that brands that typically takes longer, like on the 2 to 3 week side, it's because they didn't do something that was in the directions. And so Nordstrom flagged it. We have to then send you information on what you have to fix. and then it can take some time for them to then review it again. So it's really important you follow those guidelines on the first time because it'll make it quicker. And then we do notify you when the products go live. We'll send you an email. Does someone from the Folklore team need to? Okay. So yeah, we that I hope that answers your question. Can you elaborate on the appropriate sales channels to be considered for eligibility? Can you elaborate on the appropriate sales channels to be considered for eligibility? I'm not sure what that means. Elaborating on the appropriate sales channels to be considered for eligibility. Um, I guess maybe it's because I mentioned that you need to have launched your products on some sales channels with us before we will submit you. You can just launch, like for instance, you can create a consumer storefront on the Folklore. That's one sales channel. But we also just encourage you to launch on as many sales channels as possible because one good thing about our multi-channel selling is that it's really about brand visibility. So the more your product shows up on different channels, the more likely that you are to get more sales. So we have TikTok shop, we have Instagram shop, we have Pinterest. So we encourage you guys to launch on as many channels as possible. We even have LTK. So if you're looking to start working with influencers and have influencers, making money from, posting about your product on their LTK storefront, you can do that through us. So there's so many different sales channels that we have. So we just want to see that you're taking advantage of them before we submit you to Nordstrom. So I hope that answers your question. Other than SEO optimization, how are brands discovered on Nordstrom.com? Is their website algorithm based? Many retailers use is Nordstrom saying? I don't know. I don't want to give you misinformation. I just know based on like even my shopping patterns, I'm a big Nordstrom customer. I usually filter and I usually search specific things in their search browser. So that's what the SEO is the only thing that I can really speak to, as well as having strong images. So I'm sorry I can't be more helpful there. All right. How often can a brand apply? We will get confirmation of rejection as well. We submitted the form, we're signing up the Folklore, and we're told we could get approved with our current three SKUs, currently developing more products live. Yeah, so you're able to reapply once you have updated, we'll always review because again, we don't send to everybody that applies because we'll like for instance, we may have told you, you only have three SKUs, so we can't send you over. So again, we didn't send that to Nordstrom and they denied you. It was us not wanting to set you up for failure and send you there. So if you have, feel like you now meet the criteria that I've outlined in this, that we usually look for before we submit a brand to Nordstrom, then you can always, hit up your account manager, let them know you want to be reconsidered. Will we get this recording after? This recording will be on our YouTube. So if you go and follow the Folklore on YouTube, it will be answered there. It would be uploaded there. And we can also send out an email link to all of the participants to that link. When selling on Nordstrom via the marketplace channel, would we be listed as a designer brand on Nordstrom online store? Yeah, you would have your own brand profile, so you wouldn't show up under the Folklore. There's no mention of the Folklore other than I'll give you one example. Um, let's find. So here's a brand that's selling on that's selling on Nordstrom through the Folklore. The only mention of the Folklore that you will see is that it will say sold and shipped by the Folklore. And the only reason why it says that is because we are the merchant of record and we're the connection. Even though this brand ships it themselves, that's the only mention of the Folklore that you'll see. But if you go to this brand's profile, you'll see it's just all about their brand. It has nothing to do with us. I see somebody has their hand raised. If you can just put what you have to say in the Q&A channel, and I can answer it from there. When the results you just shared based on 1 month of performance. So no, what I shared was 3 months of performance. So we always tell brands don't just go and launch your products and be like, oh, like week one, week two, why haven't I just seen like a bunch of results? It does take time. Anything that you guys do, I always tell people to give it at least 6 months of what you're doing before you decide whether or not it's the right fit for you. Everything requires work, everything requires time, because also you might have not launched enough products. You might have not, the images might not be great, and we might just tell you, hey, try updating your images, your description. So it's also about like being able to test new things because this is a new channel. So we always tell you don't just rely on, oh, it's been a week, what's going on, 2 weeks going on. We actually tell people really look at 6 months. There are some brands that see results right away, but there's some brands that maybe at the beginning weren't seeing that great of results. And then, 3, 4 months later, now they're seeing consistent results. So the scenarios I gave you just happen to be those that saw results in the first 3 months. So mine is a skincare brand. Would you offer support for FDA approvals? From what I know, we've never been told that there needs to be FDA approval for skincare. It's not something that we help with, and it's not something that we've at least been told so far needs to happen in order for a brand to be accepted. What would you consider a healthy return on investment range for emerging apparel brands on Nordstrom? I would say like a 3x return on investment is pretty healthy because you've got to think about it from a monetary standpoint, but also think about it from what being sold on Nordstrom can do to you, for you, right? So it's something that, for example, a you are talking to a retailer, like even a smaller boutique, and you're talking about, hey, can I get stocked in your store? Being able to say, yeah, I'm also available on Nordstrom right now, that gives you a lot of leverage. So it's not even just about from how much money you can make off of it directly from Nordstrom, but it's also what having Nordstrom on your Instagram, having on your website does for customer perception. It gives you a certain level of prestige and it makes people value your brand more. So you can actually be converting more customers on your own website. You can be seeing more Instagram followers, things like that. So you always have to think about return on investment, not purely from the dollar amount that Nordstrom helped generate on their website, but potentially what it could be doing for you outside of their website. Okay. For drop shipping as an emerging brand, what are the best practices and what do brands do to ensure promote sell through on the site? So I spoke on that a little bit in the deck. So I'm not going to go too deep into that into best practices, but again, if you rewatch this recording on YouTube, you'll see a little bit more info. How to apply it to Macy's. If you've already filled out the application for Nordstrom, we also look at it for all the rest of the premium marketplaces, and then we go in and submit the brands that we know Macy's would be interested in. What are the differences you have seen in brands Nordstrom accept versus ones that don't? The differences have been that they didn't meet the criteria that we had set. So you're saying wait, the brands Nordstrom accept versus okay, gotcha. Um, so that's different. What we've seen is they haven't really been accepting brands that are doing a lot of occasion wear. So like gowns and things like that don't do super well dropship wise. They get a high volume of returns. So we've been seeing brands that don't have that have like really, deep occasion wear assortments not getting accepted as of late. And then brands that they feel don't really fit with their assortment. But for the most part, we haven't seen too much of that. From a brand, we sell on Amazon too. Does that disqualify us? Hopefully. Again, it doesn't disqualify you automatically. There are other factors that we take into account. So just because you're on Amazon doesn't mean that we're not going to submit you. And it's also, again, not a rule for Nordstrom, for example, but it's something that we look at, but it's in the totality of when we're looking at your brand. Um, Any other marketplace on the folklore that might work for home decor brands where we meet all the requirements? We have Math is Home. That's on there. That could be really good as a home brand. So I would check out Math is Home. I'm gonna try to answer because we're running up on time. I'm gonna try to answer the last three. Do brands need to do heavy marketing for being on Nordstrom for effective sales? Does Nordstrom do some marketing online? So one cool thing about the folklore is that we are actually running ads on Nordstrom on your behalf. So you're also not just like waiting for organic results. we are actually giving you an ad boost as well. But we also, of course, believe that you should be marketing it yourself as well on your socials, in your emails. It's important for you to drive results as well. So it's not just, upload it and let it sit. You should be promoting your products always on any channel that you're selling on. Um, Do they look if a brand is not selling before how many months do they like to take your brand out? Because you're a part of the folklore, they don't look at it as much because they're looking at the folklore sales results, not your brand in particular. So you don't have to worry about, being kicked off because your sales aren't high. That's not something that we've experienced yet. Uh, and then could you be a little bit more specific concerning the 25 different styles for apparel? Um, we were just saying 25 different products. So, five skirts, five, maybe 10 tops, 10 dresses, like that's, 25. So you should have like 25 products that you can sell if you're an apparel company. The more products, again, the better. So yeah. And then I'll answer the last one. For a brand that is currently on the Essentials plan on your platform, can we upgrade and still take advantage of the 20% discount on the Plus plan? Sure. Email your account manager. We'll let you do it because, you're part of the community already. We love our community members. So all right. So that I got through all of the chat. We do have Macy's. I do see people put some stuff in here, but I only looked at the stuff that was on the Q&A. So sorry that I can't get to those because we are out of time. But I do appreciate all of you guys for coming. Again, I will link for you to book a demo. Anybody who books a demo now today as well, we would still be able to honor that 20% off if you weren't able to sign up like right away. But we also have that link for just signing up as well with that 20% off. So, um, again, my name is Amira Rasool. Appreciate all of you guys. I hope that this was helpful. And we'd love to see you guys, even if you're not yet ready for Nordstrom, we'd love to see you as being a part of our community because a lot of our tools actually do help you set yourself up to maybe get there one day. Between our AI tools, all of those good things. So again, we'll send this recording afterwards. We'll also send the link to book a demo as well as the signing up with the 20% off. And if you have any questions for us, you can always email us. If you are an existing brand, you can email us at brands@thefolklore.com. If you are a prospective brand, you can email us at members@thefolklore.com for additional information. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We do a lot of informative content. And we feature a lot of our brands and those success stories so you can see what it looks like to succeed with the folklore. So appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.